Entering Fleet Command Convergence Zone now, Devon notifies Chuck and Simone through comms. Understood. We're preparing to disembark. Hopefully we return with good news, Chuck replies, as she leads Simone by the hand into a shuttle. Both are adorned in their power armor, with their helmets attached to their hips, respectively. As they stand in the center, while the door seals shut behind them, Simone takes a deep inhale. With every passing moment, the circumstances feel more and more real, which may sound obvious, but the fact that there's no more time to rest quietly in bed with her wife, spend time with her kids, or perhaps even to stop to catch a mental breath, is a lot to come to terms with. Certainly she has done so many times before to an extent, but there's so much more to lose in this miraculous yet perilous junction of her life. The shuttle's engines start up, and the bay begins the process of preparing for its departure. Glancing her red eyes up at Simone, Chuck squeezes her love's hand tightly. The redhead exhales, realizing she's holding her breath. Once a soldier, always a soldier, but I hope this is the last time I have to be one, she chuckles. I hope so too, but regardless, you are so much more than a soldier. You're Simone Thatch, a loved wife and mother, dear friend, workout enthusiast, and an old movie nerd, Chuck says sweetly. You'll always be all those things, forevermore. Simone huffs a soft laugh and nods. Not wrong, she agrees, as a seemingly random thought comes to mind. Speaking of old movies, I found the one you referenced a long while back, the black and white one with the mustache guy making a profound speech. His name was Charlie Chaplin. Thank fuck it was that mustache man you were referring to. You had me scared for a moment while I was first looking it up, and honestly, yeah, I see why you were so moved. I hope my people can actually live up to those words preached one day. Chuck tilts her head, almost ignoring the subtle sensations of the shuttle taking off. I believe you have. Many times in many instances, she claims. It's true. The Union or Terrans as a whole have really never known a full-scale true peace. And with every era of nearing prosperity, there has and will be those who allow corrupting greed to take them wholesale, because simply of the opportunity. Horrible people will always exist, and sometimes they win. But that's what those speeches are for, to remind the majority that there's always a choice to decide our futures. That we all have the power to make the right choice. And that choice is of love and compassion for everyone. You, Simone Thatch, are a living embodiment of those amazing virtues, and I can say with full confidence that you're not the only one. My people are an unfortunate example, that no matter how long a people can know and exist within peace, that corruption and greed can come for us all. My people failed the stars when they are needed most, but I still believe in them. Because I know the majority did not want this to pass, and will want to make things right. How can I not say the same about yours or any people? Simone smiles and shrugs slightly. Well, I hope you're right, and that we all fully come around more before the Manarians make their big debut. Even with all our shit pulled together, it's not going to end all that great for most. But hey, at least everyone will be facing it together. You know, as insurmountable and inevitable as the Manarian threat may be, I'm starting to think the stars may have more of a chance than we may have first believed, Chuck says in contemplation. Simone lifts at Night Tuft. Oh yeah? Got some insider knowledge now, do ya? Don't tell me you got a scattered ancient Manarian consciousness tumor in your head as well? She jests. No. But as you know, Jamie is a very kind soul. Manarian nature may be more bitey than ours, but despite the encoding, I see his nature to be the farthest thing from evil or malicious, as do you. Chuck points out, followed by an immediate agreeing nod from the Terran. If I were to venture a guess, I say that Manarian people unfortunately fell for the lies of the greedy and power-hungry, most likely born into it with nothing to tell them that there's another way. Even with that environment, Jamie's birth parents cared deeply for him. His own father willingly gave his life in a terrifying and lonely manner, simply to give his son a little more of a chance to somehow survive. Manarians know love, And so maybe perhaps someday after their arrival, many of them will gain the necessary perspective. Or at the very least, they'll have the opportunity to. Simone nods slowly. They may be a big scary mystery, but yeah, they're still people. But until the day comes where they abandon their radically insane belief of conquering the universe as their grand destiny, let's do our best to make sure the stars can last long for that to even happen, she points out. Absolutely, Chuck agrees more firmly. Here and now, we do what we must for the future. The shuttle traverses towards the VIP bay of a Zartuk flagship. The impressive vessel is in the center of a massive fleet formation awaiting instruction. The shape of the flagship is lengthy, and vaguely the side and front silhouettes of a Zartuk major's elongated snout and muzzle, if one were to squint and use a little imagination. Aesthetic paint colouring the predominantly red ship mimicked the natural patterns of great beasts that the Zartuk greatly respect and admire in their honourable hunts. The weapons adorning the ship are decorated with tightly facing fishnet-like weaves, with an array of metal-coated bones, teeth, claws, and skulls of said beasts as well. Most of the Zartuk military ships are decorated in similar fashion. Looking quite intimidating, their practicality actually falls more in line with primarily designed with a more fast and mobile approach. Other than their carrier transporter class, and even less in number defender class ships, most vessels present in this fleet, and other fleets awaiting in separate locations, are not designed for prolonged slugging matches. As the masters of the galactic meat markets, the Zartuk's primary focus for a long while has been to produce ships that can defend their trade routes effectively and quickly, not necessarily aid in sieging worlds. This very fact troubles the princess's mind, as she and Simone step out of their shuttle and meet with their welcome party. Ambassador Zreek? Chuck chirps in surprise.
Greetings, princess.
The massive elder Zartuk cheers, almost jovially, with his arms momentarily extended out. His corgi bolts from between his legs and circles the two arrivals in glee.
And greetings to you, Simone Thatch. I must admit, I did not foresee our deal coming to fruition this soon. The newest member of the FSA is truly a marvelous hunter.
That they are, Simone nods, finding the Zartuk's tone with her specifically rather peculiar. I'm assuming the situation has improved a lot? Zreek approaches closer to the redhead, giving her a very focused stare, while setting his clawed hands down on her shoulders.
Thatch, I cannot put into words what you've done for not only my people, but all amongst the stars, he says, in a deep, emotionally restrained gratitude. Me? I don't know about that. Vermis is doing all the work. I'm glad you listened to me voting them into the FSA as well, but you were the ones who made the final decision, she argues. Friend Vermis has recounted the story of how you found it to many of us, including some of those in Central, that you not only freed it, but set it on the path of seeking peace and cooperation in doing so, only to then convince it to give its aid in quelling this crustacean plague. We will all be in debt to Vermis, certainly, but your name is also circulating as a savior of the stars, a champion of them all, the ambassador proclaims. Simone's eyes are as wide as saucers by the end of Zreek's words. That seems a bit dramatic, she stammers out. Perhaps if the circumstances weren't so dire, and the results so effective, then I'd agree with you. But no, Thatch, you've been instrumental in saving countless lives. Vermis has even claimed that they imprinted a part of you into themselves, before conducting such a wide miraculous effort, Zreek says.
They did what? Really? Simone responds, not quite fully grasping what that means.
Indeed.
The Zartuk nods slowly. But all I did was help him out and give some corny advice. I really shouldn't be getting all this praise, Simone resists, still grappling with the idea of countless people suddenly knowing who she is, and being thankful to her for just doing what she felt was right. It could have easily been anyone else. You have the strength to bend and alter the universe, my friend. Seven quotes himself from a conversation they shared a while ago, as they and Chuknuk also enter the bay.
Ha! You really need to learn how to roll back your humility from time to time, Simone. We would all not be here on the dawn of tangible hope without your direct efforts. Not anyone could have done what you've accomplished, but your example will no doubt reverberate throughout the stars themselves. Bask in your earned praise, lass. Wahaha!
Chuknuk insists. Red in the face, Simone rolls her eyes as she plants a free hand to her hip. Well, I'm really glad Vermis saved a lot of people, and that my plan didn't backfire catastrophically. But unless we actually succeed, I don't think I'll be taking praise to heart. But fuck, I'll bask in whatever happily if we do. So let's get to it, yeah? She replies, giving the old Trumple a nod.
Indeed,
Zreek agrees, while he pats his claws graspers down heavily on the redhead's armored shoulders once before stepping away.
Accompany me to the war room, if you will. You are the last to arrive, so we may discuss planning in full.
As requested, everyone follows the ambassador through the dino-designed hallways. Not all too dissimilar from other species' home vessels, but there is a notable amount of high-up doorways and hatches, with only a singular step cropping out from the wall to get access. Very simple and easy for the jumpy, limber, raptor-like species, but would mean a literal climb for most others. Thankfully, the VIP bays have other species in mind, having a very simple trip to the war room, and other relevant facilities. Entering behind Zreek, the group steps on into a circular room with a central projection table. Above it, decorating the ceiling, is a massive bones of a marine animal's jaws aiming directly downward in a 15-foot total expanse. It's like a shark on steroids, with layers upon layers of triangular teeth blooming out, as if extending to catch and reel in its prey. Simone quite frankly can't tell if the jaw is an artistic chimera of several specimens, or an actual monstrosity that exists in the same reality as herself. Almost poetically, just under the gaping hungry maw, there's a projection of Sind Montas, the Kali homeworld. Next to it, in orbit, is the large, white, pearl-like moon that orbits so closely to the planet that it feels almost troubling. Around the center table stand several ship captains of the Tsar Tuk, accompanied by Brom, a uniformed Mick and a Union Terran commander. What is surprising, however, is that there's a Borkon there as well. Whilst in discussion with the Borkon, Brom looks to his sister. Welcome, sister. Congratulations on your marriage. Apologies if I was not able to attend, considering the risks, he says with a polite bounce, though his gleaming eyes hold back tremendous excitement. Though the glow in his eyes is from another matter than his sister's marriage. Thank you, Brom, and of course we understand. Have there been further updates on the situation? Chuck replies in a similar tone, while showing her brother's restrained attitude. Brom nods immediately. This is Commander Truegal of the Central Defense Fleets. Although she has brought a humble fleet to assist our campaign, her main directive is to act as a direct line with the Central Fleets currently defending the Malkite homeworld. It seems our warning and Vermis' assistance came in just in time, because the fleets are already engaged with our father's forces. Chuck's eyes widen as she looks up to the Borkon. Rushing a polite bounce, she addressed her urgently. Greetings, Commander. What's the status of the ongoing battle? She questions. The Borkon flares her nostrils in a reserved sigh. Greetings indeed, Princess. There have only been distant prodding skirmishes with minimal casualties at the moment. However, more and more Kali ships arrive by the standard hour, and soon no amount of tactical maneuvering will hold them at bay. It seems the Kali Kingdom has indeed produced an incredible amount of warships in such a short length of time. Unfortunately, Central is spread too thin dealing with the Malkite infestations to comfortably respond in kind. This Vermis has accelerated the timetable drastically, however, but not fast enough. Hence why I was diverted here to assist the FSA. Not only can it cripple the hostile Kali fleet's command, and perhaps force a surrender, but if not, we hope to gather FSA support after the successful siege here. she spells out. Apologies that I was not able to bring many ships with me, but among them are 4 of Central's finest Challenger-class blockade breakers. They will ensure your deployed ground forces have a clear path to the planet's surface. Good thing, too. Seeing there are more defenses around Sin-Montaz than expected, she acts proudly. Central's generous contribution will be happily accepted, Commander. You have my deepest gratitude, Chuck bounces thankfully. The Borcon bows her thick, muscular horned head in a responding nod. Chuck then turns to the Terran. And is the Union here to assist as well? She inquires. The surprisingly young adult male Terran clears his throat. Yes, but not to the capacity we had hoped. With our forces assisting Central's territory and our FSA allies, our remaining fleets have been occupied with defending sensitive high-priority locations. It appears there's a current coordinated terrorist effort to attack those sites, so unfortunately we've only come with mainly supportive Defender-class ships, supplemented with Wayfarer-class vessels, and deployment crafts containing the first officially trained Grat regiment who volunteered their service. The Grat are assisting us? Simone asks curiously. Being addressed by Simone directly, he acts as though in the presence of an admiral or general. Giving her a salute, he responds promptly. Yes, ma'am. They will act as supportive forces. They've been trained and outfitted with custom combat equipment produced and donated by Titan, he replies. All right. At ease? I'm not an official member of the Terran Union military anymore, and besides, I think you'd still outrank me even if I was, the redhead replies, both confused and amused by the man's mistake. I know, ma'am, the man says, before relaxing a bit. My uncle, Admiral Solberg, sends his regards. Fair warning, he's really keen on convincing you to come back into the Union ranks, in a high position at that. No shit. Well, it would have to come with one hell of a benefits plan, because I'm more than ready to retire. I think it's fair to say I've served my share, plus I'm technically a member of a foreign government's family. I'm sure there's a little conflict of interest there, Simone says in a chuckle. Of course. He doesn't expect you to accept, but the people of the Union want to officially recognize their champion. The man responds, with a slight bow of his head. Fighting the urge to roll her eyes again, Simone crosses her armored arms and smirks. Honestly, being a recognized celebrity in Jark is the last thing I really need. If everything works out for me, then I'll be settled down somewhere quiet with my family, and won't be making much, if any, public addresses if I can help it. It's weird enough that I even have to be concerned with that kind of thing. Usually that's my wife's business, she says, before gently bumping her hip into Chuck's playfully. Understood. Though unfortunately saving the universe may make that difficult, the man points out. Simone dismissively waves her hand. General folk will forget about me soon enough. All this is way bigger than one person, she figures. Before the conversation can continue, Zreek barks out wordlessly to gain the room's attention. Once he has it, he courteously hands it over to the top-ranking Zartuk commander by his side. His very own packwife, in fact. The smaller variant individual, with a sharp blazing red mane of feathers, presses down to bring up reported Cali fleet positions to the projection. Thank you all for coming. I am Vice Admiral Sriak. I am leading the Zartuk fleets, and I will be taking prime co-authority in the battle over Sin-Montaz. I am afraid, although we have only just assembled, we cannot linger for long. Central is currently occupying the bulk of the Loyalist Cali fleets, so our deployment timetable has been slashed. In case there's any questions regarding this operation, Central has given its full blessing, and is actively participating with us. She gestures to the Borcon, who nods in the affirmative. Now, although the Cali fleets defending the planet are more formidable than expected, they are depending on many combatant-class ships with Defender-class support. However, there are numerous Challenger classes and a singular Field Operator class present. We must disable or destroy that Field Operator, while our ground forces strike the capital city and palace. Without it, the defending Cali ships will lose their prime command. They may have an effective chain of command once it's lost, and will continue with minimal disruption, but that's not our intent. So it will be the main target for the Zartuk fleets. As we engage, the Union, Mick and Brom's fleets will hold the deployment path the central blockade breakers will have created. Once ground forces hit dirt, this operation all depends on them capturing or eliminating King Lovia-Mataz. If they are unable, I'm afraid this conflict will drag out longer than we or Central can afford it to. Brom has recent intel on the King's location, confirming that he is indeed present within the Royal Palace grounds, she says, while demonstrating it all with holographic representations before nodding to the Kelly Prince. Brom presses on the console, zooming in the projection to the Kelly's capital city. It's the largest and most expansive site of the Goatbug civilization, and the palace itself is shown to be a smaller walled city within the capital itself. Of course, there's an enormous main stone structure towering in its center that rivals the height of the surrounding titanic trees that coexist with the outer city's architecture. Indeed, he has constructed a deep bunker under the palace grounds. Unfortunately, it's too protected from bombardment, and the Kelly people will be less inclined to support us if we destroyed our people's most precious historical and cultural site. So our ground forces will drop over and around the palace directly. We will secure at least one of the palace ground walls and press on, with the sole goal of making it to my father in mind.
And will you or your sister be personally taking part in that operation?
Vice Admiral Shriek inquires.
In order for this all to work as well as possible in our favor.
One of us has to survive, we understand, Admiral, Brom assures. Though he gives a side glance to his sister and the armor she's currently wearing in concern.
Sister, I take it you are not simply dressed to impress.
I will be joining the ground forces personally. My existence is already widely known, and thus, wherever I position myself, I'd be a target. I choose to embrace that, and to show our people that the royal family has not forgotten their promise to guide our people through strife and into peace, she initially responds, as her eyes fall upon the palace again in focused determination. I will uphold our agreement and surrender power over to you when the dust settles, Brom. It's still what we both desire from this. But right now, as the sole surviving matriarch, it is my duty to be there. The first queen to unite the Kelly people in an age of potential demise, led from the front. I will do the same and face the same harrowing consequences as she did. I, for all intents and purposes, am not the runaway princess anymore. I am the reclaiming queen. Officiated or not, it does not matter. It's time our people saw that for themselves. Bron stares at his sister, unable to admit he doesn't agree, because he does. Chuck was never a traditionalist, but this matter isn't just about appealing to tradition. The First Queen wasn't traditional in her time by any means, and if there was a time for another reformation of where Callie should go, he can't think of anyone more suited to repeat history. The prince nods and readdresses the Zartuk. I will remain in my flagship and assist in the defense of the deployment forces, he informs.
Understood, Zrik responds with a bow of her head. Best of luck to all of us in our glorious hunts. This alliance of ours is as strange and unheard of as our goal. But remember, even if we were to find success, the fight for galactic security will not be concluded. Bare your teeth, sharpen your talons, and may the stars guide us in the conflicts ahead.
Briefer than I expected. Almost surprised we couldn't do that all over comm, but risking anyone patching in, Simone comments, as the Quipchap crew will travel back to the shuttle bay. Certainly can't risk it over something as sensitive as this, Chuck agrees, before looking to Chalknook and Seven. Are you certain you wish to participate in the fighting? The Quipchap is upgraded substantially from a royal yacht, but it's still no warship, she asks.
More than certain, your majesty, and fear not. We'll be linking directly to the Blunder's bust, the captain replies. We'll be acting like a backup power supply, escape craft and an oversized cannon. We will be among the many forces defending the deployment path.
So a mini Voltron situation. Gotcha, Simone jests, as she sets a hand on the old man's back. But still, if things go sour, don't linger and bug out with the rest. Chuck and I will figure something out. You have my promise on that, she insists.
I doubt either ship will be of any competition to a wall of AA fire, but of course we will also be planning up a way to retrieve you swiftly, the old man assures.
Hopefully that won't be necessary in the first place, but we'll count on it, Simone smirks, before the group stops to part ways. Chuck gives the Tromple an embrace, thankfully with her power armor at normal levels of output. Stay safe, Chugnook, she says softly. That's an order from your queen. The captain chuckles deeply. As you command, your majesty. And you be sure to come back to us. The danger you'll be facing will pale towards any Seven and I will face above the sky. That goes for the both of you, ha ha, he replies, before his large dark eyes fall on Simone, who he invites to the hug as well. The redhead joins in without a moment of hesitation, though the armor makes it just a tad bit awkward. We'll keep each other safe, like always, she promises. You better, ha! Chugnook says, before pulling away. As much as I wish otherwise, I'm too old to be gallivanting as a soldier. This is what I must leave to you and those risking their lives tremendously. But I'll give what I can to help you all along, even if that means being behind a singular but albeit powerful cannon. Risk is a part of security. I'd know. I was hired for it because you two were practically helpless before finding me. And damn did I jump into a boiling pot of risks over a flame of intergalactic doomsday. Simone remarks in a laugh, joined in by the other two. And yet the three of us are still here after everything, thanks to you, Chuck says to her wife lovingly. Simone huffs in amusement. You both pulled your weight too, and then some. But hey, you needed a Deathworlder, right? Guess you ended up picking the right one, she points out in a chuckle. No, we needed you, Chuck counters softly, yet directly. And we were the luckiest people in all the stars when we actually found you. Feeling more spiritual now, are we? Simone asks. Nope, just stating a fact, Chuck answers with another hug. The Terran smirk softens into a gentle smile as she brushes her hand through the back of the Callie's dyed head fur. Then how do I feel like I'm the lucky one? The redhead whispers, before turning her head to look at Seven. Last chance, friend. You ready for war? 'Cause nobody really ever is, she asks. The effect and affect you've had upon the universe, Simone, is not a lie or exaggeration. Look around you, think of every action you have done, every trial you have overcome, each person you've influenced. I was not being hyperbolic. You have the power to shape the universe just by doing what is right. Your life is a ripple effect that can build out into tidal waves. Remember that you mattered, and your waves will live on past us in the memory of your name and existence. You became one with the universe itself from here on out. I hope you inspire more to do the same, because you have certainly inspired me, the bot responds, disregarding the question thrown their way. Simone blinks blankly, but then shakes her head, amused. The way you see the universe really is something else, but I can't say it's not beautiful. I'll do my best, and hope for the best. You do the same, all right? She says. I will, and I'm certain your influence upon me will only mean positive things for you in turn, as have most others in your life. Just don't get shot. Lethally at least, Seven replies, as they wink one of their cranial lights. You bet, Simone agrees. As the four divide and part ways, a fifth comes down the hall in a hurried pace. Sister, a moment, Brom requests. Simone and Chuck look back at him as he comes to a stop. Chuck pats Simone's shoulder assuringly. Go ahead to the shuttle, I won't be long, she says. Simone hesitates for a moment, but nods and continues on solo. The Queen then moves forward to close the distance between her and her brother. Something changed with the plan? She asks. No, Brom replies quickly, as his lowers scratch the sides of his head. Before we part, I just wanted you to know that I'm truly sorry for what I did, what I said, and I want you to promise me that you're not going to die. Even if we never speak again after our victory, I don't want my last sibling to leave me as the sole survivor, and I really do respect you. Not only was I so terribly wrong about your motives in my grief and mania, but you've proven to be the stronger of us both. I'm starting to feel guilty for taking the throne from you. Chuck takes in a slow breath before embracing her brother. I've had to change and learn very hard lessons, and so have you. They're lessons no royal classroom can teach, no trial an instructor can guide us through. We both suffered, but we can choose to continue to grow from it. I'm so happy you're alive, because as you know, believing to be the last is one of the worst things we can mentally endure. She gently but firmly presses her horns against his. But we both found new people, new families. If one of us falls, we will still have them. If we're both still standing, then I swear we won't disconnect. Just don't go mad with power, okay? She chuckles, ending with humour. Brom smiles softly. Once you meet my wife-to-be, you'll see that will be very hard to do, he chuckles back. In that case, I can't wait to formally meet her, Chuck says, as she begins to pull away, but Brom reinforces the hug. Let's not only put down that pile of Clat's sins for good, and avenge our family, but live our best lives afterward, to fully fulfill our justice, he declares, crying. Chuck gives her brother a final tight farewell squeeze. Oh, I love that plan,